The death toll is rising in one of the deadliest attacks on civilians in the war in Ukraine over the weekend. A Russian missile destroying an apartment block in the city of Dnipro.
And the war is still raging on as we speak in eastern Ukraine as more nations, including the United States, commit to helping defensive measures. And for the latest, let's bring in ABC News chief national correspondent Matt Gutman. That devastating attack there where you are in Dnipro, the death toll continues to rise following the missile strike on that multi-story building that reportedly housed something like 1,700 people. What are you seeing on the ground today?
Right now, one of the things that it's almost like an optical illusion is that open sky you see behind me. That building was there. It was a 9-story building, 72 units right there in all, over 200 units destroyed. The death toll now stands at 44. There are still people unaccounted for, but you can see it's pretty much cleaned up behind me. That's because they've ended the search and rescue operation here. They don't think that anybody else could possibly have survived. So now they're actually going through the DNA to see if there are any additional victims. And you'll see that there are people gathered here on either side. They're watching. And something very poignant that I think Americans will be familiar with at home is this memorial that has sprouted up here. You know, the baskets of flowers, the stuffed animals, the candles. It gives you a sense, DeMarco, of how intensely people in the city felt this, both emotionally and physically. The sound wave, the shock wave of that explosion, of that missile was so powerful that it was basically heard throughout the city.
Wow, it's just really heart-wrenching to see what's behind you, Matt, to see that memorial and all those people as well. This apartment block was hit by a Russian missile, but the Russians are denying that they targeted the buildings. They're actually blaming Ukrainian defensive tactics. What exactly is the Kremlin saying, and how have Ukrainians reacted?
Ukraine is disputing that, right? I mean, when you see what's left of what was that building, it gives you a sense of the scale of the size of this missile. It's a KH-22, according to Ukrainian officials and Western sources as well, designed to take out aircraft carrier. 38 feet tall, nearly 13,000 pounds, packs a massive punch, which you can see behind me. Ukraine's air defenses don't have the capacity to cause that kind of destruction. So they're saying that's pretty much just propaganda coming from Russia, Rhiannon.
Matt, Ukrainian troops arrived at Fort Sill, Oklahoma on Monday to begin to train on the Patriot defense system. There is also training for Ukrainian troops by the U.S. and Germany. How many troops are at each location, and give us a sense of what they will learn?
So there are 100 troops, DeMarco, at Fort Sill learning the Patriot anti-missile system. 500 in Germany right now, but thousands have been trained there. So what they're learning, especially in Germany, is called combined arms warfare. They're learning how to integrate different platforms, so infantry, armor, artillery, air assets, and use them all at once. And this is in anticipation of Ukraine getting Bradley armored vehicles, Bradley fighting vehicles from the U.S., similar vehicles from Germany and other countries. And for the first time, Britain, the U.K., is sending tanks to Ukraine, just 14 of them now. We anticipate other allies will join in more of those types of assets. The big, heavy tanks will be set at some point in the future.
Let's talk more about that. You just mentioned the UK has pledged 14 tanks and other equipment to Ukraine, but is this as much a diplomatic message as it is a military push? What message does this really send to other allies, and is it working?
It's a really good point, Rhiannon. It is almost a symbol at this point. 14 tanks is not going to turn the tide of this war. They would need much more, and Ukraine has been asking for that kind of heavy battle tank for pretty much a year now. But it is symbolic and it is important because it breaks a taboo that Western allies have imposed from the very start. We're not going to do offensive weapons, but now the UK is breaking that. In addition, they're also sending some other sophisticated weaponry, and they believe that other Western allies are going to follow suit, Poland, maybe Germany as well, in the coming weeks and months. And that, if there are enough numbers of these types of weapons and platforms, could turn the tide of the war in the favor of Ukraine against Russia.
All right, fascinating and phenomenal reporting there. ABC News chief national correspondent Matt Gutman. Matt, thank you and good to see you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.